Let me set this up because I noticed it. I get all the transcripts from the coaches, the players, everything the teams make available. And I try to skim through all of them. And Sean McVay's transcript showed up on Monday, the day after the loss to the Cardinals. And, you know, a lot of it's just fluff and filler. It's like, yeah. And then I see the one about Robert Woods. Robert Woods, after he scored a touchdown against the Cardinals, kind of threw the ball away and walked back. And McVeigh down, he's just frustrated. We were losing. It's a meaningless touchdown. But I really got to work to get him more involved. I've really got to get him more opportunities. And I started looking at the touches. God, everything's going to Cooper Kupp. And here's Robert Woods, who's making $10 million next year, non-guaranteed. And you're on a team that is so top-heavy with superstars. You're out the door if you're not earning your keep, and you're not earning your keep unless you're getting the football. And Troy Aikman last night, over and over again, he would never be. Come on, football players aren't selfish. Come on, Troy, you played with Michael Irvin. Of course they want the football. And they're forcing it all night long to Robert Woods. It was laughable to me. The more Troy said it, the more they forced it to Robert Woods. And at the end of the day, he ends up with 14 targets, 12 catches, and 150 yards. Let's hear from Woods and McVeigh after the game.
This week, had a little talk, just trying to get involved in the offense. Me and McVeigh spoke, said he was going to, give me some touches. Was able to find the ball. It was just one of those defense and those looks where we're able to just keep working. Me and Stafford was able to connect. It was one of those games where just keep getting open, keep getting my number called. And it's how the team works. You never know how the game goes and the flows of our season goes. But just always be ready and always expecting the ball. And today was my day.
We were definitely trying to get him involved tonight. He delivered in a big way. And, there's a reason why he has a C on his chest. He's made the most of his opportunities that he's had the first 4 weeks. Tonight was an opportunity where he got 14 targets. He delivered on 12 of them. He's a stud, and just love the way that he was instrumental in the win tonight.
Sims and I were talking about this yesterday, Peter. You got two different ways that this goes. One, you've got the plays that are designed to get the ball in the guy's hands, and the way that McVeigh designs it, it's getting in his hands. And then you've got the normal run down the field, let's see who's open, let's go through our progressions. But these receivers know where they land in the progression. They know whether or not plays are being called that have them as the first read, second read, third read, no read at all. They know that. And he was not the guy. Cooper Kupp was the guy. Cooper Kupp was the favorite receiver right out of the gates for Matthew Stafford, and Robert Woods had become forgotten. And yes, he said something about it. And you're right. They were so over the top on the broadcast, downplaying the idea that a wide receiver would want the football more. It really did become laughable.
Coming into last night's game, in the first 4 games of the year, Cooper Kupp had 46 targets. Woods had 25, and Van Jefferson had 20. So you say to yourself after a while, this has been a 1 and 1A offense, with Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, somewhere in that order. They've always been the guys who are going to get the ball. One of them will get it 8 times in a game, the other 5, and the next week it'll be opposite with the 8 and 5. But the only point I would make about this is that, look, Robert Woods is a great teammate. He's a great guy. I doubt sincerely he went to Sean McVeigh and pounded his fist on the desk and he said, what the heck is going on here? I'm ticked off, blah, 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 blah. He said, hey, because he's a reasonable person and he's a team person. But he has to notice what's going on, that all of a sudden this offense in all ways goes through Cooper Kupp. And in the first 4 games of the year, Cooper Kupp is, he's averaging 11.5 targets a game. And Mike, the only thing I would say about this, just in terms of, and you talk about players in an offense and how, they can be, if they're not getting the ball, they're going to be upset and all this other stuff. Yes, they'll be upset, but there are ways to be upset, in my opinion. And Robert Woods, I would bet a lot of money, did not make a big scene about this. I think Robert Woods basically just went to his head coach, and he said, hey, Sean, what's going on? Just let me know. I want to know what the expectations are, blah, blah, blah. So you are right Mike, the one thing that I can tell you about Sean McVeigh and Matthew Stafford is this. He knows that Matthew Stafford can distribute the ball the way that both of them want the ball to be distributed. So in other words, if they want a game, like last night clearly was a game that they wanted Woods to be more involved in the offense. And Sean McVay knows that all he has to do is communicate that to Matthew Stafford, and it will happen. And that's exactly what happened last night.
And it does get back to the business of football. We can't overlook it. We saw it happen to Jalen Smith this week when the Cowboys, thinking ahead to his injury guarantee for next year and realizing he could get injured and not wanting to have to owe him that money, they made a move to get rid of him. And with the Rams, you just look around at that roster. Look at all the star players they have. Robert Woods is not going to be there next year at $10 million. They're going to come to him and say, we want you to take less. If he's not generating in that offense, if he's not regarded as a centerpiece of the offense. And that's the philosophical question here, Peter, and you hit on it. Last year, it was 1 and 1A, Woods and Kupp. Now, before last night, it's Kupp and Woods. And that's fine this year. But next year, when Les Snead and Sean McVeigh and anyone else are sitting down looking at the how we're going to allocate our dollars, that's when it becomes a very cold, dispassionate, heartless business. It's like, hey, we got to go to Robert and say, you want to stay on this team? We can't justify paying you. Look, you're not as big of a part of the offense as you used to be. So he intervened at a time where he could change things. And he could say, I'm still an important, show me I'm still an important part of this offense. Show me. I'm not mad. Just show me. And he said everything he needed to say, Peter. If you go back and look at the clip of his touchdown catch against the Cardinals, the way he throws the ball aside, that was all he needed to say to Sean McVay to get his message across that what the hell's going on here? I'm either a big part of this team or I'm not.
I just looked it up, Mike, just to emphasize the 1 and 1A. Last year, Robert Woods, 129 targets. Last year, Cooper Kupp, 124 targets. You would be very hard-pressed to look at this team in the first month of the season and say, something's really changed. Now, McVeigh and everybody will say, no, nothing has changed. Everything is exactly the same. Numbers don't lie. 46 targets, 25 targets. Something has changed. Maybe it's that Matthew Stafford has gotten more comfortable with one guy over another. We're not going to know that. But I do think last night was a step in the right direction for a team that, it was a very telling play last night, Mike. The play on the 68-yard reception by Deshaun Jackson. And the reason it was a telling play is because if you watch Deshaun Jackson in recent years, he always gets a flat tire at some point during the season. Always. And I think last night that was Deshaun Jackson saying, I know my body. It's not important enough right now for me to take this ball, to try to take this ball to the house. Watch what he does right here. And you're going to see it at the end of this play. Well, you're not going to see it. But at the end of that play,
he pulls up and goes out of
Jackson,
bounds.
Yeah, he just pulled up and went out of bounds, which I think is so smart by him because he knew that if he went one more speed, okay, if he just went one more. Now let's see if we see this to the end. Well, we're not going to see it. But here's the point. Deshaun Jackson last night, the most telling play of this game. Deshaun Jackson is saying, I love this team. I want to be a part of this team for 17 weeks. I'm not going to blow it. And you know what my role is on this team? 2 of those plays every game. That's it.
Yep.
I'm not playing 48 snaps a game anymore. I'm playing maybe 20. And I think if Sean McVay has basically mentally figured out right now, look, this guy has a role, but it is a really important role. It's just a role that he's going to make an impact on 2 plays a game. And if we try to use them more than that, we're just not going to have them after October 10th or whenever it is.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.